Yes. Yes.
If you have one read to you, there will be one line out of it. This system appeal to lost. In determining whether to grant equitable relief, this court has broad discretion, I quote from the federal precedent. The trial court is according considerable latitude and discretion in applying and formulating an equitable remedy that will not be overturned unless it uses discretion. It looks like to me you're going to lose that lawsuit. In the audit of December 31st of last year, they value that lawsuit currently at $5.5 million at 10% interest. This is exact the elephant in the room. If you lose that even right today, it's over a third of your entire county budget. And the clock is rolling. You guys are playing with a multi-million-dollar table.
So the amount in financial statements was done, again, I believe it was done before, the estimate for that was done before the lawsuit had actually come down. So we have an exact figure on the lawsuit, number one. So it's not $5 million. That was an estimated figure that the auditor needed because they were aware, the auditor was clearly aware of the lawsuit. So the $5 million is not what was the judgment. The judgment was for the $1.4 million. Now I have the exact dollar. I do have something.
But the clock's still rolling. If you actually lose, then that 175 is going to be way low.
We understand that. But we have to make decisions as a body here. Do we continue to defend the county on the merits of our lawsuit? And this body has determined, we've chosen to continue to pursue our defense of that lawsuit.
Okay, well, any of you not read this,
we've all read it.
It's only 7 pages.
I guarantee you we've all read it.
I think you're going to lose, unfortunately.
I hope you're not the judge.
Yeah, thanks for your comments.
Oh, I see the face looking at me. My name is Mike Wasatch. There are 2 hot button items that got me just in the last 5 minutes. And the first hot button item is that red letters that are all the same from a certain location. And I've submitted comments to you on 2 occasions in order to make sure that we wouldn't have what happened last August that Tracy had talked about me talking to a wall and not getting an answer back. You have my comments. I haven't heard any answers, but I don't have the time to pursue those. That's an example of the lack of transparency.
I have your letter. I do have your letter. If you give me an email address or
but I'm here at a public meeting. The purpose of that was to answer those here. But I'm just getting that as an example that we could solve a lot of problems, and I tried to have no hidden agendas tonight. I hope I've shown that. But the other hot button issue is the charge that I am the Jordanelle and am not fulfilling my obligations. I want to answer that, and I see that it's going on deaf ears. Let me explain a little bit about the lawsuit. The lawsuit included a whole lot more people that are in the lawsuit right now. There was a very large number of people and of homeowners associations that joined that lawsuit. Each had different issues. For technical legal reasons, it has been narrowed down. I can go through that for you, but you don't need to know the bottom line. The bottom line on that is that there are only 2 groups left in the lawsuit. They have very, very specific issues. Now in a lawsuit, maybe those of you have been involved in them, and I have for 32.5 years working with the EPA doing lawsuits. I have paid lawyers' fees, I've paid for expert witnesses, I've gone through these kinds of things. I know what lawsuits are like, and that is you narrow the issues, and those issues get narrowed to the point where it seems that they're not justified. For instance, yes, people who are left in the lawsuit are running out of the special assessment area. They don't, and the reason why is the graph that you have right out front here. If you want to know why your taxes are going up, you take a look at this tax. This is your mill rate for the last, 15 years, 14, 15 years. It used to be quite a bit higher than it is now. It looks like it's twice as high as it is now. This is your graph. Okay? And the reason why you had a big decline is that the Jordanelle Fire Station was constructed, which we did agree to, at least those who were before me agreed to it, and then all this overhead in your county got put into that budget. That's what happened. Your rate went down because the people up there paid for almost all of your overhead. Am I wrong? Ernie's wasn't entirely in there. Ernie didn't even earn a full salary until the last, 10, 20 years? And his full salary went into this overhead. And that's why your rates are down, and that's why your rates are going back up, because they're now having to make adjustments for all the money that we have put into that station and into your overhead. So, part of the people in the lawsuits that were kicked out argued that issue. It was the overhead. But they're not in the lawsuit anymore, so it doesn't look like, you look at a piece of paper, just like people have been showing up, have you read this? If you had read our original complaints, if you had attended any of those earlier meetings, we had major issues with paying and paying and paying, and we subsidized you. And we didn't complain. And the reason why we didn't complain because it was appeared to be pretty honest in the beginning. We paid $12.15 a month. Okay? And that seemed to be an okay balance. It all went to heck when the Mustang Development Company lawsuit came along, and they argued the issue of double taxation. We then had to completely redo things, and none of these issues that we're debating tonight came out at that time about who's paying the overhead, who's paying for the chief, the deputy, their vehicles. We haven't even debated about all the things that should have gone into the enterprise fund. That was a business, and it was meant to run that way. There was income that should have gone into that business that didn't, and the auditor didn't care because they drew a big envelope around the fire district. And as long as funds were fairly handled within an envelope, no one questioned whether it was fair on the allocation between the Jordanelle and the rest of the district. So, I beg to differ with your opinion. People left in the lawsuit, yes, they want out. I have a copy of the original agreement. If we had held to that original agreement, you would never see me up here. You wouldn't have seen me for the last 3 or 4 years. It's just that I believe, and the people that were in that lawsuit and now are not, believe that you took advantage of us. You, maybe not as the board, but the county took advantage of that. That's what the big issue was. So I beg to disagree with you. It may be true now, but that's not historically what got us into this lawsuit. Thank you.